The career you're training won't exist. Part 1, somewhere on your laptop. There's a piece of work you're proud of. Maybe it's code. Maybe it's a design, an essay, a report, a translation, a deck you stayed up 2 nights to finish. You know the one. The one where, when it was done, you sat back and thought, okay, I can actually do this. I'm becoming someone who can do this. I want you to hold that piece of work in your mind for the next 15 minutes. Because this video is about what happens when a machine makes it in 40 seconds. Not something like it. Your thing. The thing that took you years to be able to make. I know. Because it happened to me first. I took a real task from a real project. The kind I used to quote 11 hours for. The kind that sat right in the middle of my identity. And I gave it to a model that cost $20 a month. 40 seconds. And before you reach for the comfort, everyone reaches for, yeah, but it's not as good. Let me close that door gently, because I tried to hide behind it too. It wasn't as good as my final version. It was about 85%. But be honest with yourself for a second, the way I eventually had to be. What was your first draft at 85% of your final? Because mine wasn't. Mine was 70. The other 15 came from revision, from sleep, from swearing at a screen at 1 in the morning. The machine's first draft beats your first draft. Today, for the price of a lunch. So here's the question this video exists to answer. Not what will humanity do? Nobody's qualified for that one. The question is smaller and much sharper. What do you do now? Part 2. The map you work in before we answer it. Notice what the internet is already trying to sell you. There are 2 videos waiting for you after this one, and you've probably watched both this month. The first is the panic video. Ominous music, a robot thumbnail, a ranked countdown of which jobs die first, and yours is always on the list, isn't it? Funny how yours is always on the list. That video isn't information, it's weather. You watch it to feel appropriately afraid, and then you close it, and nothing changes except your sleep. The second is the opposite. Relax. It's just a tool. The camera didn't kill painters. Learn the tools, ride the wave, and somewhere around minute 12, reliably like a tide. Here's my course. That one performs even better than the panic one, because it's not selling information either. It's selling relief, and relief is the highest margin product in the world, and you have been buying it. And so was I. This is neither of those videos. I'd rather this channel grow slowly than open it by lying to you. So instead, let's talk about the map. Yours and mine. Because I'm willing to bet money we were handed the same one. It goes like this. Find something difficult. Learn it properly. Get good enough to be rare. Rare enough to be expensive. Expensive enough to be safe. Difficulty was the moat. The harder it was to learn, the safer you'd be once you'd learned it. Remember who told you that? A parent, a teacher, a YouTube video, someone you trusted who believed it completely. I know they believed it because I was one of them. That's my confession in this film, and it's the only part that's really about me. I didn't just follow the map. I taught it. Real rooms, real people. People who paid money and rearranged their lives. And I stood in front of them and said, learn this, and you'll be okay. I wasn't lying. I believed every word. I was handing out directions to a district already scheduled for demolition. And someone, somewhere, did the same to you. They didn't know either. The buildings come down anyway. The fear. Let's take it apart, yours and mine together, because I spent a year on this and I can save you some time. You think it's about money. It isn't. Check for yourself. You've been broke before, or close to it, and you survived it. Broke is survivable. Broke is even boring. You eat less, you work more, it ends. If the fear were financial, it would feel like a math problem. It doesn't. It feels like grief, which means it lives somewhere deeper than the bank account. Here's where it lives. For years, when you did the work well, the work told you who you were. Every finished thing was evidence. Evidence you could point to. Evidence that you were becoming someone. And now a machine produces the same evidence. Faster for anyone, for $20. So say the real sentence. I'll say it first, because I circled it for a year before I could. You're not afraid the machine will take your job. You're afraid it will take the reason you were proud of yourself. Sit with that 1 second longer than is comfortable. Good. Now we can actually work. Part 3. The AUDIT is what I want you to do this week, not someday, this week. I did it. It took 2 days and it hurt. And it was the most useful thing I did all year. Clear a wall. Get sticky notes. Draw 4 columns. You're going to take inventory, not of the industry, not of the news, of you. Column 1, gone. Not going, gone. Things a model already does better than you today. Column 2, going. Still yours, but you can see the edge from where you're standing. 18 months, maybe. Column 3, holding. The machine makes you faster there, but your judgment is still doing the real work. Column 4, leave it blank. Put a question mark on it. That empty column is about to become the most important thing on your wall, and I'll meet you there in a minute. 1 rule. The rule is the exercise, so don't skip it. You must put things you're proud of into column 1, not chores, not the parts you'd be relieved to lose. If your column 1 only contains things you never liked doing anyway, you haven't done an audit. You've done a performance of an audit for an audience of yourself, and you'll feel better for exactly 1 week. Let me show you mine so you know what honest looks like. Then you do yours. Clean, reliable code. The unglamorous 90% of my trade. Column 1. And I was fast at it. Being fast at it was part of how I introduced myself to myself. First draft writing, in 2 languages. Column 1. And that hurt more than the code. And the reason it hurt is a trap you need to see before you hit it. The writing cost me more to learn. Years of getting it wrong in front of people. So it felt like it should be safer. It isn't. Write this down somewhere, because it's the most uncomfortable law on the whole wall. The price you paid for a skill has no relationship to how defensible it is. What it cost you is not what it protects you. Research and synthesis. 40 open tabs into 1 clear brief. Column 1. That was 1/3 of what my company billed. 1/3 of a business on 1 sticky note now. Your column 4. Here's what's going to happen, because it happened to me and it will happen to you identically. You're going to stand in front of that empty column hunting for a skill, a technique, a subject, something you can go and learn. 6 months, a certification, a new tool, so you can write it down and feel the old feeling again. Safe, certified safe. You're hunting for a new map with the same shape as the old one. Different destinations, same shape. And every candidate you write down, you'll run the same test I ran, and it will fail the same way. Picture the model 18 months from now. Can it do this? If the skill can be learned from examples, and every skill you can name can be learned from examples, then it can be learned by the thing that learns from examples faster than any human who has ever lived. Every note you try will fail this test. Every one. 2 days if you're stubborn like me. And then on the second night, you'll see what I saw. Column 4 was never going to contain skills. Column 4 contains positions, being the one who decides. Not the one who generates 10 options. The machine generates 10 options all day long forever for free. The one who picks, who commits, who can say why out loud to a person whose money is on the line, who is sometimes wrong and stands there anyway, being the one they call at 11 at night. Not because you know more than the model. On raw knowledge, the model already beats you and me and everyone. They call because they trust you. And trust is not a capability. Trust is a history of showing up, of taking the hit, of not disappearing after the invoice cleared. A history is the one thing that cannot be generated because it has to be lived, one kept promise at a time, being the one whose name is on it when it fails. The machine can do the work. The machine cannot be accountable for the work. It has no skin. Nothing happens to it when it's wrong. It doesn't lie awake. It can't call the client with bad news in its own voice. It cannot lose anything. And anything that cannot lose anything cannot be trusted with anything. Not in the human sense of the word. And here's the part that took me 10 years and one bad year to see, and I'm handing it to you in one sentence. Accountability is not a skill. There's no course. You can't study your way in. It's not something you learn. It's a place you agree to stand. The question your wall is really asking is not, what should I learn next? It's, where are you willing to stand? Part 4, the onus in the same road. 11, 10 to 13, you're not the only one standing at that wall. I went and checked. I asked a student, 20 years old, studying roughly what you and I studied, whether she thought her degree would still be needed by the time she finished it. She went quiet. Then she said, I try not to think about it because I can't afford to switch. Maybe you've said a version of that sentence. Maybe this week. I didn't have anything useful to tell her, and I want to be honest. I didn't try very hard to find something, because every comforting thing I could think of was the exact sentence that got her there. It'll be fine. Just get the degree. The comfort is the trap. You've been comforted into corners your whole life by people who loved you. But then I talked to a man in his 60s, and this one is for you, so listen closely. His entire trade, the whole technical world he'd built a life on, stopped existing in about 5 years, decades ago. Different technology, same story as yours. I asked him what he did when the thing he knew stopped mattering. He laughed, actually laughed, and then he said, you kids think the map burning is the disaster. The map burning is normal. Having a map at all, that was the anomaly. Maybe 40 years in some countries for some people. One brief window in history where you could choose a path at 20 and ride it to 60. Everyone before that window improvised their whole lives. Everyone after it will too. Think about what that means for you. The ground you feel disappearing was never the ground. It was a 40-year accident that your parents' generation happened to be born inside, and they mistook it for a law of nature, and they raised you on the law. You're not falling. You're just the first generation in a while that gets to find out what everyone before the accident always knew. Part 5, walk. So I'm not going to give you an ending. You've seen that ending, the clarity moment, the music swell, the 10 steps. It feels good. It's also the only part of those videos guaranteed to be wrong, because nobody knows. The confident ones aren't better informed than you. They're better paid for sounding certain. And the person you should trust least is the one who sounds like the confident version of me from 3 years ago. The one handing out maps to a demolition site. Here's the only thing I can hand you instead. It's small. It might be enough somewhere in your own bad year. Maybe you're in it right now. Notice what you're actually doing. Because I finally noticed mine, and it wasn't fear, it was waiting. You're waiting for clarity, for the dust to settle, for someone credible to announce which skills are safe now. So you can go learn those and feel the old feeling again. You want to see the road before you put weight on your foot, and you're calling it prudence, research, due diligence. Just one more video, maybe even this one. It isn't prudence. Waiting for certainty is a respectable way of never being responsible for a direction. And certainty is not coming. It was never coming. It only looked like it existed because, for one strange half-century, the road came pre-paved. The people who are okay right now, genuinely okay, not LinkedIn okay, did not guess the future correctly. Nobody guessed correctly. They're okay because they're moving, because they built lives where a step produces information and information produces the next step. Their plan is 3 steps long, rewritten monthly, and they've made peace with that. They stopped trusting maps. They started trusting walking. And that's when the sentence behind this whole channel stops being a nice phrase and becomes a mechanic. And I want you to hear it as one. The path does not appear, and then you walk it. You walk. The walking is what makes it a path. It's only ever visible behind you. One day you'll turn around at 30, at 40, and there it will be. Coherent, obvious, like it was always there. It wasn't. You made it. Step by uncertain step. Hindsight drew the line and called it destiny. So close this video and look at the thing you were proud of. The one I asked you to hold at the start. The skills inside it are leaving. Some already left. Grieve them if you need to. I did. But what's left is bigger than what's leaving. A place to stand and a foot and ground you can't see yet. I don't know if any of this is true. I owe you that honesty right to the last minute. I don't know. It's just the only thing that has kept me walking. Your move.